Greetings and a warm welcome to my channel. In this video, we will be discussing the second season of Jujutsu Kaisen. Take a seat, relax, and savor the recap. To continue from our previous video, Nanami saves Yuji from a lethal attack, and they decide to work together to defeat Mahito. Mahito transforms his arm into a blade and spawns an eye on his palm. They attack him from both sides, forcing him to escape by transforming into a child version of himself. Mahito regurgitates small transfigured humans to attack Yuji. Yuji rescues Nanami, and they coordinate their attacks to overpower Mahito. Mahito activates his domain expansion, trapping Nanami inside, which makes him recall a past experience that inspired him to become a Jujutsu sorcerer. Yuji breaks into the domain and weakens the barrier. This causes Mahito to touch Sukuna's soul. Sukuna warns Mahito and injures him, but he manages to escape underground. Nanami contacts another sorcerer to exorcise Mahito, while Yuji reunites with Nanami, who explains the events. Yuji feels guilty but is determined to save people. Nanami asks him to stay alive and recognizes his responsibility as a sorcerer. He vows to never lose again until he kills Mahito. Later on, Mahito, Ghetto, and Jogo discuss their plan. Mahito suggests winning over Sukuna by offering him the fingers, while Ghetto plans to retrieve the fingers stored at Jujutsu High. Yuji expresses excitement to return to school to see his friends. The Kyoto Jujutsu students arrive for the event, where Gojo reveals that Yuji is alive, but Megumi and Nobara are horrified. Yuji apologizes and rejoins his group, then Principal Yaga explains the rules of the team battle. In the Kyoto team meeting, the principal orders his students to exorcise Yuji. Then the team heads to the battlefield. As the Goodwill event begins, Gojo starts the event. Both teams enter the forested area. Yuji asks about the Grade 2 curse's location so he can fight them. Aoi to do appears and confronts the team. Yuji fights Aoi alone but is overpowered. Yuji gets back up and exchanges words with Aoi. The Kyoto team attacks Yuji to kill him, but Aoi saves Yuji and confronts Noritoshi. Momo is knocked out by Megumi's new. Megumi and Maki engage Noritoshi and Kasumi, while Panda and Nobara taunt Momo. Megumi suspects the big three sorcerer families have a motive. Meanwhile, Aoi and Yuji fight evenly. Aoi criticizes Yuji's technique. Yuji learns about the importance of cursed energy and harmony from Aoi. Mekamaru attacks Panda, but Panda easily defends himself. Panda enters gorilla mode and overwhelms Mekamaru. He underestimates Panda, and Panda defeats him. He offers future assistance before leaving. Kasumi and Maki clash, and Kasumi recognizes Maki's true strength. Despite not being a Jujutsu sorcerer, Kasumi is outmatched by Maki's strength in their battle. Maki predicts Kasumi's moves and deactivates her domain. Mei suggests promoting Maki, but Satoru mentions the challenges with the Zenin family. Nobara struggles against Momo but refuses to accept her perspective. Nobara defeats Momo using her techniques, while Mai informs Momo of Mekamaru's elimination. Maki dominates her battle with Mai. After their battle, Mai questions Maki's decision to leave the Zenin family and cries at her response. Elsewhere, Megumi battles Noritoshi in a temple, both using their inherited techniques. Noritoshi alters arrow trajectories and showcases his blood manipulation abilities. Megumi's divine dog is occupied, and Noritoshi creates a distraction and overwhelms Megumi in close combat, breaking his tonfa. They discuss their connections to the big three sorcerer families. Noritoshi sympathizes with Megumi but wants to kill Yuji to fulfill his role as heir. Megumi summons Max Elephant and engages in a fierce battle. They are interrupted by Hanami's branches, trapping them. Satoru and Gakuganji try to reach the battlefield but encounter Juzo. Gakuganji instructs Yudaheim to save the students while he takes care of Juzo's issue. Hanami destroys Megumi's phone and immobilizes Toge. He seeks the sorcerer's sacrifice to become Earth sages. Megumi, Toge, and Noritoshi runs from Hanami as Toge tries to hold it off. Noritoshi barely injures Hanami with his blood manipulation, and they plan to seek help. Hanami pursues them outside, then Maki joins the fight. Megumi and Maki attack Hanami's weak points, but Megumi is hindered by a cursed bud. Maki and Megumi are eventually subdued, but Yuji and Aoi arrive to rescue Maki. Yuji and Aoi fight Hanami together, and Aoi helps him unleash the Black Flash. They engage in more battle, and Hanami summons larger roots to attack them. Yuji and Aoi adapt their strategy and continue fighting. Hanami reveals his enjoyment in the battle, and Aoi decides to use his curse technique. Boogie Woogie. Aoi uses his Boogie Woogie technique to outmaneuver Hanami and launch a relentless attack. Yuji surprises everyone by landing 4 consecutive Black Flash strikes. They continue the fight, pushing Hanami to the river where Aoi reveals its weak spots. Hanami prepares to activate its domain expansion, but Gojo appears, floating above the battlefield. Meanwhile, Gakuganji clashes with Juzo, and Yutaheim is ambushed by Haruta. Nobara and Mai come to her aid, and Haruta retreats. Gojo severs Juzo's limbs and instructs Gakuganji to heal him for interrogation. Gojo predicts Hanami's escape and combines his techniques to create Hollow Technique, Purple. Yuji tries to pursue Hanami, but Aoi stops him to prevent damage. Mahito successfully steals cursed objects and a Sukuna finger while wondering about Hanami's fate. Haruta finds an exhausted Hanami in an underground cave and is joined by Mahito. Mahito confirms completing their mission, stealing the Tengen's barrier. Mahito helps Hanami and observes its transformation into a cursed spirit. Back at Tokyo Jujutsu High, the higher-ups discuss the recent events caused by Mahito and stolen cursed objects. They debate whether to inform the students and sorcerers, but decide to keep it among themselves. Gojo suspects that the special-grade cursed spirit fought by the students helped the intruders bypass Tengen's barrier. In the healing ward, Yuji and Nobara visit Megumi, who shares his experience of having the cursed bud removed and praises Yuji's growth. Aoi appears and acknowledges his expectations for Yuji. The next day, Gojo discusses the continuation of the Goodwill event with the students. Aoi convinces them to proceed despite recent events. The event becomes a team-based baseball game. The game unfolds, with various interactions between the characters and arguments over cheating. Aoi steps up to bat against Yuji, and the principals discuss their thoughts on Yuji and the importance of supporting the students. The game concludes with Tokyo High winning the event. Later on, Taichi complains about the open auto-lock doors at his apartment before being killed by a cursed spirit. Akari Nita, Megumi, Nobara, and Yuji investigate the connection between the victims and visit their former school. They learn about a bungee jumping tradition from Yasuhachi Bridge and decide to investigate. Megumi's past at the school is revealed, causing tension among the group. They arrive at the bridge, but find no curse. A punk informs Megumi about his older sister's experience with the open doors. Megumi decides to go back to the bridge alone to protect his friends, but Yuji and Nobara join him, expressing their support. They enter the curse's domain and face the mole-like cursed spirit. A new cursed spirit from the death painting wombs also appears. Yuji confronts the new threat while Megumi and Nobara handle the mole-like curse in the domain. Yuji fights Kichizu, dodging his blood attacks and landing punches. Megumi and Nobara try to kill the mole-like curse in the domain but it retreats. They decide to keep crushing the exits and persevere. Nobara is eventually pulled out of the barrier by an unknown entity, while Megumi continues to fight. Kichizu flees upon sensing his older brother's presence. Megumi advises Yuji to pursue him. Outside the barrier, Nobara confronts Eso and questions his nature. Inside the domain, Megumi battles the curse and encounters a special-grade finger bearer. Megumi activates domain expansion and fights back. He stabs the curse through the chest with the help of Divine Dog, Totality. Megumi collapses from exhaustion. He remembers his past with Tsumaki and the life they lived. Nobara notices Sukuna's finger and battles Eso. Yuji and Kichizu appear, angering Eso. As they fight on, Nobara strikes Eso's head with her hammer, and Eso attacked them with a lethal wasp attack. Yuji and Nobara battle Kichizu and Eso, evading their attacks. Eso's technique threatens them, but Yuji carries Nobara to safety. Kichizu spits blood on Yuji, and Eso injures Nobara. They learn they have limited time to live due to the curse's effects. Nobara uses her straw doll technique to harm Eso and Kichizu. Yuji fights back with cursed energy-infused punches. Eso activates his Wing King technique, but Yuji counters with a powerful punch. Nobara kills Kichizu with her straw doll technique, while Yuji defeats Eso. Eso takes a man hostage and escapes, leaving Yuji and Nobara to pursue. Nobara attacks with her straw doll technique, while Yuji finishes him off. Yuji senses something unusual from his blood. Elsewhere, Choso senses the deaths of his brothers and Mahito reacts with satisfaction. Akari tries to contact the first years but fails, while Yuji and Nobara find Megumi alive under a bridge and they scold him for leaving one of Sukuna's fingers lying around. Yuji holds the finger, triggering Sukuna's presence. Megumi warns Nobara not to tell Yuji about the Yasuhachi bridge curse. Yuji and Sukuna make a pact, and Yuji is unaware of the deaths caused. Maki and Panda train while Tadou and Mei meet the Kyoto High Principal Gakuganji, proposing to promote the first-year students to Grade 1 sorcerers. And this concludes this first season of Jujutsu Kaisen. Hope you found it enjoyable. See you in our next video. Remember to like, subscribe and stay tuned.